Part 5. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 41. The next day, Ye Chen woke up and didn't see Luo Hongjian. It was already bright and Luo Hongjian had gone to attend the morning court. The princess was attacked, so the court will definitely be very lively today. It's not easy to be the emperor. The Tianyang dynasty is so big, big things often happen. Ye Chen shook his head secretly. Even if the emperor did it for him, he would have no such interest. Empress, your majesty invites you to go to Tianji Palace. Ye Chen had just finished washing up, and Nangongneng came to Ye Chen's side and bowed. Shall I go to Tianji Palace? Ye Chen was confused. The harem was not allowed to interfere in politics. As the emperor and empress, what was the purpose of going to Tianji Palace? Yes, Empress. Nangongneng looked respectful. Then let's go. Ye Chen smiled and said that with his current 8th level God Emperor strength, he could handle any situation no matter what. This is confidence. The emperor and empress are here. Not long after, Ye Chen entered Tianji Hall, which was filled with many courtiers. See the empress. All ministers saluted. Ye Chen raised his hand slightly. You don't have to be polite, your majesty. I don't know why you asked me to come to Tianji Palace. Luo Hongjian looked at Yan Rui. Yan Rui took a step forward and cupped his hands and said, Empress, the barbarian master Ku Menlu entered Princess Changle's room, but the assassination attempt failed and was killed. I have doubts about this. King Bian is the vassal king of Tianyang dynasty, and Ku Menlu died. If it is not clear, the Aota Empire may cause trouble. Your Majesty didn't explain. Ye Chen said doubtfully. Luo Hongjian said, I have explained that it is just a matter of great importance and we need to confirm the defensive properties of the clothes. Empress, do you think it is okay to let Chang Le come here wearing a skirt to confirm? Luo Hongjian was not sure how strong the defense capability of the skirt was and whether it was a disposable treasure. Ye Chen said softly, it's okay, but Changle is a victim. She still needs to undergo such a test. If there is no problem in the test, Your Majesty, Crown Prince, what are your plans? Grand Master Pang stood up and said in a deep voice, Emperor and Empress, this is a state matter, and it is not appropriate for the Empress and Empress to participate. Ye Chen looked at him coldly, Master Pang, the harem is under the control of this palace. Before Chang Le got married, he was a member of the harem. In this case, I don't agree with Chang Le's coming. This. Master Pang was at a loss for words. As the master of the harem, Ye Chen indeed had such power. Luo Hongjian said in a deep voice, Master Pang, the queen's question is to safeguard the dignity of our Tianyang dynasty. If it is determined that there is no problem with the defense of the skirt, the Ota Empire really needs to give us an explanation. Yan Rui's eyes flashed with cold light. If you try to kill Princess Changle to stir up trouble, our Bo Iron Cavalry will definitely charge into the grassland and slaughter for 3,000 miles. There were foreign ministers from the Ota Empire in the hall. They frowned secretly when they heard what Luo Hongjian and Yan Rui said. Princess Changle has arrived. The eunuch's loud voice sounded, and Luo Yudi entered Tianji Hall wearing a colorful flowing skirt. Everyone in the hall had a look of amazement in their eyes even if they had seen him yesterday. Yan Rui's eyes were even more intense. See your majesty. Luo Yudi saluted. In such a formal occasion, she couldn't call Luo Hongjian's sister. Changle, it's like this dash. Luo Hongjian explained, Changle, this matter has certain risks. If you don't agree, you can refuse. Our Tianyang dynasty is a huge country, and we don't necessarily need to investigate so clearly. If the Bo Iron Cavalry cannot be dispatched, I can mobilize troops from other places to attack the Ota Empire. Sending a powerful killer to assassinate the princess is an extremely serious provocation to the Tianyang dynasty. Your Majesty, As long as the Emperor and Empress agree, I have no objection. Luo Yudi said respectfully that the gift was given by Ye Chen, and Ye Chen must know better. There were 2 foreign ministers of the Ota Empire present, and one of them said, Empress, Xuanhuan is a strong man of the 9th level of the God King, and he needs at least an attack test of the 9th level of the God King. Ken. Ye Chen nodded slightly. Although Luo Yudi's colorful flowing skirt is only a B-level reward, it is enough to withstand attacks below the level of the God Emperor. With the ability of the colorful streamer skirt, there is absolutely no problem in resisting 5 full force attacks from the 9th level of the God Emperor in a short period of time. The power consumed last night should be less than 1/50th of the colorful streamer skirt, and it will be fully recovered long ago. Changle, nothing will happen. Ye Chen smiled at Luo Yudi, and Luo Yudi's somewhat flustered heart immediately calmed down. Someone, let's test it? Luo Hanjian said in a deep voice. Your Majesty, I, the God King, have the 9th level of strength. A strong person among the Black Dragon Guard stood up. Of course he didn't want to stand up, but the leader of the Black Dragon Guard secretly issued an order. He had no choice but to stand up if he didn't want to. You can attack with all your strength. Ye Chen said. Yes, Empress. This Black Dragon Guard held the hilt of his sword. In an instant, he unsheathed his sword and stabbed Luo Yudi's shoulder with the sharp sword. Even if the shoulder is punctured, it will not be fatal. An inch away, the 5-color gleaming light appeared again, and the long sword in the hands of the Black Dragon Guard was easily blocked. Clang! There was a huge sound. This sword was extremely powerful. But Luo Yudi stood there, not taking a step back. Continue to attack with murderous means. Ye Chen ordered. Yes, Empress. The Black Dragon Guard was confident. His second sword went straight to Luo Yudi's heart, and his third sword pierced Luo Yudi's throat, but his 2 swords were also easily resisted by the 5-color Yingguang. Everyone was dumbfounded, such a strong defense. The 2 foreign ministers of the Ota Empire turned pale. These 3 swords undoubtedly confirmed the extremely strong defense of the skirt. Without any doubt, they had nothing to say about Xuanhuan's assassination. Prince, is this skirt okay? Ye Chen looked at Yan Rui and chuckled. Yan Rui's face was ugly. Yesterday he tried to step on Ye Chen with his skirt worth 1,000 gold. As a result, he was slapped in the face yesterday, and he was slapped in the face again today. The skirt that Ye Chen gave to Princess Changle is worth more than 10,000 gold. There is no need to continue testing, Queen, thanks to the skirt you gave to Princess Changle. Yan Rui bowed and said. He was afraid in his heart. He was slapped in the face yesterday. If Princess Changle died tonight, he would be the #1 suspect. Ye Chen said calmly, Prince, don't forget what you said before, the Northern Ghost Iron Cavalry slaughtered for 3,000 miles. In addition, Your Majesty, Changle's skirt was attacked and suffered great damage. It's okay to ask the Ota Empire to pay double compensation. The 2 foreign ministers of the Ota Empire quickly discussed secretly. If the value of the skirt is 30,000 gold, double compensation is 60,000 gold. 6 million taels of silver, it is still easy for the Ota Empire to pay compensation. Your Majesty, once the war is over, there will be a lot of suffering. The foreign ministers think it is better not to start a war. Our Ota Empire can pay 5 times the compensation. What do you think? One of the foreign ministers bowed. Ye Chen sneered, Changle is a princess, a body worth thousands of gold. You want to get rid of it with only 5 times the compensation from the Ota Empire. Dream on. 10 times, our Ota Empire can pay 10 times the compensation. If Your Majesty and the Queen still can't agree, the warriors of our Ota Empire have no choice but to fight. Another foreign minister of the Ota Empire said firmly. Ye Chen looked at Luo Hanjian and smiled, Your Majesty, the OTA Empire is willing to pay 10 times the compensation, and the sincerity is not bad. I think it is acceptable. What do you think? Luo Hongjian thought about it and nodded slightly. If it is 3 million taels of silver per piece, 10 pieces will be 30 million taels. Thank you, Your Majesty. The two foreign ministers of the OTA Empire breathed a sigh of relief. Paying 30 million taels of compensation is better than being attacked by the Tianyang dynasty. Ye Chen said lightly, you too, the tenfold compensation is confirmed. Now let's determine the value of this skirt. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 42. Everyone was wondering, hadn't the value of the skirt been measured just now? Being able to withstand the 9th level attack of the God King is already extremely powerful. This skirt is worth up to 30,000 gold. Your Majesty, this skirt can withstand the 9th level attack of the God Emperor. Its value will not be less than 100,000 gold. Ye Chen smiled slightly. Everyone was shocked. A strong man who has studied treasures more deeply said, if it can really withstand the attack of the God Emperor's 9th level, it will be worth more than 100,000 gold, and its value will reach at least 120,000 gold. That's right. Some of the others also spoke. Luo Yudi couldn't believe it. This skirt was much more precious than she originally expected. Impossible, this is impossible. The two foreign ministers of the OTA Empire shook their heads repeatedly. They did not want to believe this. If the dress is really worth 120,000 gold, the compensation 10 times would be 1.2 million gold. 120 million taels of silver. It would be difficult for the Tianyang dynasty to come up with such a large sum of money, let alone the Aota Empire. Ye Chen said calmly, whether it has such defensive power, it will be clear after testing it. Your Majesty, it is not convenient to conduct such a level of testing in Tianji Hall. It would be better to find another place. Good. Luo Hongjian nodded. There were black dragon guards guarding the Tianyang Emperor's palace, and it didn't take long for Ye Chen and the others to arrive at the black dragon guards training ground. Eunuch Yan, your cultivation at the 8th level of the Divine Emperor will be tested by you. Luo Hongjian ordered. There are not many powerful people at the 9th level of the God Emperor in the Emperor Tianyang Palace. The Supreme Emperor is so powerful, and there is also a strong man at the 9th level of the God Emperor at the Demon Suppressing Tower. But it's not convenient for them to take action. Yes, Your Majesty. Eunuch Yan said respectfully, and the next second a monstrous aura erupted from his body. The strength of the 8th level of the God Emperor was extremely terrifying. Fortunately, the martial arts field has a barrier, and Ye Chen and the others will have no impact if they stand outside the martial arts field. Drink. Eunuch Yan's weapon was the Foken in his hand. Foken swung out a huge fireball with a diameter of 4 to 5 meters and hit Luo Yudi. The energy contained in this fireball could directly flatten a mountain. Boom. The fireball hit Luo Yudi head-on. If the 5-color flowing skirt couldn't withstand it, Luo Yudi would be turned into scum by Eunuch Yan's attack. Luo Hongjian's pupils shrank. She didn't expect Eunuch Yan's test to be so violent, so she just took action with all her strength. A dazzling light burst out. The fireball exploded the moment it hit Luo Yudi, and the red fireball expanded over 100 meters. A huge shockwave hit the surrounding barriers hard. A large pit with a diameter of 100 meters and a depth of 30 or 40 meters appeared on the extremely hard battlefield. Cough, cough. Luo Yudi coughed. She was blown away by the fireball explosion, but the 5-color fluorescence that appeared around her body completely withstood the attack. There was only a slight hiccup in the process of being blown away. Princess Changle is still alive. It's amazing. The defensive power of this skirt is amazing. Princess Changle does not seem to have been harmed at all. The defense of this skirt definitely reaches the 9th level of the God Emperor. Everyone was talking a lot. The two foreign ministers of the Ota Empire looked pale. This skirt actually had such amazing defensive power. Luo Hongjian said calmly, "It seems that the results of the test have come out. Two envoys, if you accept this result, then you should pay 10 times the amount of 100,000 gold. If you don't accept this result, your Ota Empire can send out strong men from the 9th level of the God Emperor, but if you pass the test, you need to give 1.2 million gold." Big beads of sweat broke out on the foreheads of the two foreign ministers of the Ota Empire. They knew they were in trouble. This compensation is amazing. But it is impossible without compensation. There were not only people from the Ota Empire present, but also foreign ministers from several other countries. On behalf of the country, they had promised tenfold compensation. How can we tolerate children's play in Tianji Palace? We recognize this result. After a long time, one of the foreign ministers of the Ota Empire said in a harsh voice, they could clearly see how terrible the attack just now was. Luo Yudi's skirt has a high probability of being able to withstand the 9th level attack of the God Emperor. Otherwise, Eunuch Yan would not dare to take action so boldly. Very good. A smile appeared on Luo Hongjian's face. 100 million taels of silver was a lot of money. The Ota Empire will definitely not be able to take it out. The Tianyang dynasty can take the opportunity to obtain many precious resources of the Ota Empire. Chang'e, you go to the harem with the Emperor and Empress first. Yes, Your Majesty. Luo Yudi said blankly, she was so shocked that her skirt was so valuable. Yan Rui looked away, feeling ashamed. The skirt worth thousands of dollars that I gave you is trash compared to the skirt Luo Yudi is wearing. Chang'e, let's go. Ye Chen smiled and left quickly with Chang Li. Luo Hongjian still has many things to do. If the Ota Empire cannot provide the money, we need to have a serious discussion about what kind of resources it will ask for. Brother-in-law, you gave me this skirt, right? Back at Fengming Palace, Luo Yudi said. No. Ye Chen shook his head. Luo Yudi blinked and said, brother-in-law, don't lie to me. Although Sister Hongjian is very kind to me, she can't give me such a valuable gift. 120,000 gold. If you sell it, you can do a lot of things for the people. Ye Chen was speechless. Luo Yudi is very smart and cannot deceive her. Luo Yudi believed that the gift was worth 10,000 gold, but Luo Yudi actually started to doubt it when she knew it was worth 30,000 gold. This skirt is among the treasures in Eunuch Liu's space. In order to grab it, Eunuch Liu was chased and had to enter the palace. He didn't want to tell the truth at first. He probably wanted to get it back later. Later, when you wore it to resist the attack of the God King at the 9th level, he had to tell the truth to me. Ye Chen said deceitfully. Luo Yudi thought for a while, and Ye Chen's words sounded right. Brother-in-law, I must return this dress to you. It is so precious and precious. I can wear a skirt like this for the rest of my life, and I'm satisfied, he he. Luo Yudi laughed and said that she felt a lot of pressure wearing such a precious skirt. Ye Chen shook his head, you have used this skirt a few times, and you should have already recognized it. Only you can wear it and no one else can wear it. He just asked the system to bind the skirt to Luo Yudi. Brother-in-law, you are lying. The treasure of the master can be taken into the body, ah! Luo Yudi screamed. She tried to put the skirt inside herself, and she really succeeded. Cough. Ye Chen was stunned and immediately turned around. He felt a little emotional. Luo Yudi was no longer a little girl. Sister, brother-in-law, it's ready. Luo Yudi whispered, and she made the skirt appear again. Ye Chen turned around. Luo Yudi's ears and neck were already red. She was already a big girl and had long been shy. Chang Li, don't take this little accident to heart. My brother-in-law didn't see anything just now. This matter is a secret between you and me. Uh-huh. Luo Yudi nodded. How could she tell others such an embarrassing thing? Not even her own mother, not even Luo Hanjian, would tell her. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 43. It was already noon when Luo Hanjian finished going to court, and she went directly to Fengming Palace. Hanjian, concubine Shu has been here and has taken Chang Le away. Ye Chen lay down and said lazily. Luo Hanjian walked to Ye Chen and stretched out her jade fingers to gently pinch Ye Chen's shoulders. It's comfortable, Hanjian, your technique is fine. Why don't you ask why Chang'e was given a treasure of that level? Luo Hanjian smiled lightly and said, what do you have to ask? If I were eunuch Lu, I wouldn't tell you the specific situation of such a precious treasure. Maybe there will be a chance to get it back in the future. Ye Chen felt happy. Luo Hanjian explained it to herself, not bad. Hanjian, Chang'e has already claimed the owner of that dress, so I can only give Chang'e a break. Luo Hanjian pinched Ye Chen. What is cheap Chang'e? Doesn't Chang'e deserve such a treasure? Chang'e also took risks to make a lot of money this time. I have no intention of taking back that skirt. By the way, Ye Chen, don't go anywhere tomorrow. Stay in Fengming Palace. Tomorrow the dog will eat the sun. The demons on the side of the demon suppression tower will definitely not be content. There may be demons outside to help. Ye Chen said in surprise, Hanjian, are you saying that there may be demons hidden in Emperor Tianyuan's palace? Luo Hanjian nodded slightly. This is completely possible. If some powerful demons use special treasures, they are usually low-key enough and may not be discovered even in the Tianyuan Emperor's palace. There are many people in Tianyuan Emperor's palace, and there is often movement, so it is impossible to check them. But everyone here at Fengming Palace has been strictly inspected. There will be no problems. Not far away, Eunuch Lu stood with a calm expression. Your Majesty, the Emperor and Empress are ready to have their meal. Not long after, Xuanhuan came over to remind her that Luo Hanjian had not returned yet, so she was naturally having lunch here. With her current level of cultivation at the 8th level of the God King, it would actually be nothing if she didn't eat for a month, but Luo Hanjian had a lot of 3 meals a day. She loves good food. Beauty, wine, food. Ye Chen enjoyed lunch happily. It would be better if Luo Hanjian could take a nap with him. Prince's Mansion. Prince Mu did not attend today's court meeting, but he received the relevant news just after the court meeting ended. The gift was actually given by the Empress, and the Empress helped earn 100 million taels of silver. Prince Mu's eyes flashed with cold light. He used to want to win over Ye Chen and let Ye Chen support him in becoming emperor, but now it seems that he was naive before. Various deeds show that Ye Chen is firmly on Luo Hanjian's side. Your Majesty has won a lot of hearts through the potato promotion and the money you made before. We spent a lot of money to kill Pei Hong to get a draw, and now we are falling behind again. The master next to Prince Mu said. Targeting an enemy country and harvesting hundreds of millions of taels of silver from the enemy country at one time is extremely encouraging internally. With enough money, all ministries can benefit, and the number of people supporting Luo Hanjian will naturally increase. Prince Mu said with an indifferent expression. Ye Chen originally thought that he was just a loser with a good skin, but he didn't expect that he ruined my good deeds several times in a year. I cannot let him go. The demon source stone has been placed, and tomorrow the dog will eat the sun, which is the perfect opportunity to kill Ye Chen. The demons in the demon suppression tower have been sealed for a long time, and their strength must have been reduced a lot, but they should be at the level of a god emperor. Absorbing the power of the demon source stone is of great benefit to them. So as long as they leave the demon suppressing tower, they will definitely go to Fengming Palace. Ye Chen, an empress, is of low strength, and the demon that comes out should be able to easily occupy Ye Chen's body and devour him. The emperor and empress have a lot of resources. The demon takes over Ye Chen's body and can recover his strength faster. Your Majesty, our plan has a high chance of success. If your Majesty can't find the problem, maybe the demon that comes out will give us a surprise. The master said with a smile. The demon has taken over Ye Chen's body. If Luo Hongjian hadn't discovered that she was sleeping with Ye Chen, she would have been very likely to die. I hope so. Prince Mu said calmly, this is the best outcome, but the possibility of such an outcome is very low. It's evening. Luo Hongjian did not sleep in Fengming Palace, and Ye Chen was a little sad. When the Tengu eclipses the sun, demons appear to behave strangely. I wonder if I will have a chance to take a look at the demon-suppressing tower tomorrow. Ye Chen secretly thought. Crunch. The bedroom door was pushed open at this time, and Ye Chen looked at Xiaozu, who entered the room in surprise. Xiaozu, why did you come in? Ye Chen asked. Chunlin, Xiaozu, Kaiju, and Dongmei are not unruly people. Xiaozu approached Ye Chen nervously. Her outer gauze slowly slipped off, revealing a large area of snow-white skin. With the strength of the 8th level of the God Emperor, Ye Chen could see it clearly. His mouth suddenly felt dry. Xiaozu and the other 4 were all top school beauties. 1 in a million. Emperor, Empress, Your Majesty said that holding it in for a long time will hurt your health, so let the 4 of us accompany you normally. Xiaozu said tremblingly. Although she walked in boldly, she had never had such an experience. Ye Chen took a deep look and said in a deep voice, Xiaozu, put on your clothes. I don't need you to sleep with me. You can stay outside. To be honest, Xiaozu and the other 4 are quite attractive. If any of them could be his girlfriend in his previous life, it would be a great honor for his ancestors. But now Ye Chen doesn't want to mess around. He has a wife. If something happens with Xiaozu and the others, Ye Chen knows that the difficulty of conquering Luo Hongjian will definitely soar. Empress, but His Majesty said. I will decide the affairs of the harem. Put on your clothes and go out. Just do your part. Ye Chen refused again with his strong willpower. Xiaozu blushed and quickly put on her clothes and went out of the room. Huh. Ye Chen let out a long breath. Damn it, using such a method to test him. Fortunately, his cultivation is high now and his willpower is strong. After a night, Ye Chen's strength was strong. He keenly sensed that the yang energy between heaven and earth was decreasing and the yin energy was increasing. Such changes have occurred before the eclipse. It seems that the eclipse in this world is different from the previous life. Ye Chen thought to himself. The atmosphere on the demon suppression tower became tense. 50,000 black dragon guards were mobilized by Luo Hongjian to the side, and the entire demon suppression tower was surrounded. There were a total of 100,000 black dragon guards guarding the imperial palace, and Luo Hongjian directly mobilized half of them. Usually, when Luo Hongjian went out of the palace, the black dragon guards would only mobilize a few thousand people. As time gradually approached noon, the yin energy between heaven and earth increased further, and the yang energy decreased a lot. The effect of Ye Chen's sun god body was greatly reduced. Heavenly dog eclipse, it's coming. Ye Chen stared at the sky, and the sun in the sky gradually lost a piece, and the yang energy decreased rapidly. The yin energy surged. In the back mountain demon suppression tower, 50,000 black dragon guards were ready. The royal ancestor Luo Wanli looked solemn, and his low voice sounded, I will enter the demon suppression tower to suppress the demons. You must suppress them with all your strength in the outside world, and no demons can be allowed to leave. These demons were at least at the level of the great emperor, and there are even demons at the level of the half-saint and saint venerable. If they are allowed to escape, there will be endless troubles in the future. A dozen powerful men at the level of the Divine Emperor and dozens of powerful men at the level of the Divine King around the Demon Suppression Tower said in unison, "I obey your order." Xuanhuan took a deep breath, and the next second he turned into a big sun and entered the Demon Suppression Tower to suppress it. Ah! Some demons in the Demon Suppression Tower who rushed forward screamed in pain, and the light bursting out from Xuanhuan caused them considerable damage. However, as the eclipse continued, the yin energy became heavier, and the demons in the Demon Suppression Tower would become more active. It was impossible for Xuanhuan alone to suppress all the demons. Gradually, many demons came into contact with the seal of the Demon Suppression Tower, and they screamed and tried desperately to rush out of the Demon Suppression Tower. Outside, the Emperor level and King level warriors radiated light, and they guarded an area respectively. The 50,000 Black Dragon guards, with ordinary strength, could not help at this time. The demons came out and they could attack them only when they were found. Woo! Let me out, let me out. Gradually, the entire sun disappeared, the sky and the earth darkened, and the yin energy between heaven and earth reached an extremely strong level. The stronger people in the palace could hear the roar of the demons in the Demon Suppression Tower. Chen was in the 8th level of the Emperor level realm, so he could naturally hear it. He stood up and stared at the back mountain. There has been no problem for so many years, there shouldn't be any problem, right? Chen thought to himself, he did not go to the back mountain, and it would be easy for other strong men to find him if he touched the formation. Now, Eunuch Cai's eyes flashed with brilliance, he deliberately used means to hurt his soul, and his power weakened instantly, and the other Emperor-level warriors all attacked with all their strength and no one noticed him. There is more than one passage to leave the Demon Suppression Tower. But under the seal of the strong outsiders, these passages were blocked tightly. Suddenly, in one of the passages, a red snake demon found that the seal of the passage on its side had weakened. Blood Shadow escape. The red snake demon was ecstatic and immediately rushed out with all its strength. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Dit. Chapter 44. The red snake demon had the strength of a semi-saint in the past, but it has been suppressed for a long time and is now only at the 5th level of the Divine King. After coming out of the Demon Suppression Tower, the red snake demon immediately moved away. The Black Dragon guards did not find it. Leaving the back mountain, the red snake demon immediately sensed the breath of the Demon Source Stone. The Demon Source Stone contains powerful demonic energy, and its strength can be greatly improved by absorbing the power in the Demon Source Stone. There is actually a Demon Source Stone, God help me. The red snake demon quickly approached Fengming Palace. It carefully sensed that the most powerful person in Fengming Palace was only at the 7th level of the Divine King. Such a person is nothing in front of it. Without any hesitation, the red snake demon quickly entered Fengming Palace. It wanted to make its strength stronger before the end of the Heavenly Dog Eclipse. The Tianyang Imperial Palace has a powerful formation, and he cannot leave with his current strength of the 5th level of the Divine King. Use Demon Source Stones to grow flowers, ignorant humans. The red snake demon entered the backyard of Fengming Palace and came to a pot of precious orchids. There were several stones of good shape in the pot. These stones were naturally Demon Source Stones. Absorbing their power was enough to restore the red snake demon to the 6th level of the Divine Emperor. Fengming Palace is the palace of the Emperor and Empress. After absorbing the power of these Demon Source Stones, devouring the Emperor and Empress, and occupying her skin, it should not be discovered in a short time. The red snake demon thought happily. It felt that it was really lucky. According to the current situation, it is very likely to escape. As long as it is given enough time, it can recover to its original semi-saint level. Little snake demon, roll over. Chen opened his eyes and said lightly. Instantly, the red snake demon felt the terrifying might, which was even more terrifying than its might in its heyday. Saint, saint. The red snake demon was horrified. Didn't the rules of heaven and earth change? How could there be a saint in the outside world in this era? Snap! A thin willow branch hit the red snake demon, and it was whipped in front of Ye Chen without any resistance. Hiss! The red snake demon was only 1 or 2 meters long at this time. It spit out its bloody red tongue at Ye Chen, as if it was going to attack Ye Chen. Evil creature, calm down. Ye Chen said in a light voice. As he spoke, he instantly sacrificed the demon refining pot and collected the red snake demon. Ah! Once a half-saint level monster, the red snake demon had a good tolerance, but it still screamed in the demon refining pot. Ye Chen's demon refining pot can refine the emperor level strong. The red snake demon is now only the 5th level of the divine emperor, much weaker than Lu Zongliang's previous strength. Spare my life, senior, spare my life. Senior, spare my life. The red snake demon in the demon refining tower wailed in great pain. It felt that its soul was being refined. Perhaps it will be completely refined in half a day. What's the situation at the demon suppression tower now? How could you escape? Ye Chen's voice sounded in the demon refining tower. The red refining demon snake shouted hurriedly, Senior, the defense of one area of the demon suppression tower has been greatly reduced. Ye Chen's eyes lit up. Which area's defense has been reduced? Tell me your escape route. By the way, are there powerful formations arranged around the demon suppression tower to prevent people from approaching the demon suppression tower? The red refining demon snake hurriedly said, Senior, there should be formations to prevent people from approaching, but now the formations are reversed, preventing the demons inside from going to the outside world. I am good at formations to get out. The route I came out is like this dash. Ye Chen quickly turned into a mosquito and left. The red refining demon snake certainly dared not lie. Now is a good time for him to approach the demon suppression tower. With the cultivation of the 8th level of the Divine Emperor, plus the saint hidden cloak to cover his breath, even the Emperor level strongman could not see through Ye Chen. Not long after, Ye Chen arrived at the back mountain and saw the solemn expressions of 50,000 black dragon guards. Sure enough, there is no formation blocking it. Ye Chen approached the demon suppression tower smoothly, and he turned into a mosquito and lay on the demon suppression tower. System, sign into the demon suppression tower. Ye Chen said in his mind. You can only sign in at the demon suppression tower after entering the demon suppression tower. Ye Chen was stunned. There was actually such a requirement. He immediately went to Eunuch Cai's side. The seal here was much weaker than other places, which was convenient for Ye Chen to enter. Escape. Ye Chen signed in and got an S-level reward. He easily entered the demon suppression tower. System, sign into the demon suppression tower. Ye Chen said in his mind as soon as he entered the demon suppression tower. He didn't want to stay here any longer. Sign into the demon suppression tower and get the SSS level reward of the 4 swords of Xuxian. They are Xuxian sword, Luxian sword, Xianxian sword, and Juexian sword. Equipment requirements, semi-sane to equip one of the swords alone. Equipment requirements, Emperor. Note, when equipped, the information related to the Xuxian sword formation is automatically obtained. The Xuxian sword formation is a peerless killing formation. One person sets up the formation, and only 4 strong people of the same realm can break the formation. Ye Chen was shocked. Wow, he actually got such a treasure. This thing originally belonged to the Hongmeng Patriarch, and later passed it to the Tongtian sect master. In the mythology, Tais Hanglajun, Yuanqi Tianzun, Jian Taoist, and Zunti Taoist joined forces to break the Xuxian sword formation. Oh my god, this trip was not in vain. I actually got a treasure of this level. It's a pity that I only have the cultivation level of the 4th level of the God Emperor, and my combat power is only at the level of the 8th level of the God Emperor. Even if I am equipped with a sword alone, I am not qualified. Ye Chen secretly thought. Each of the 4 swords of punishment will increase his strength a lot if equipped alone. The Ruyi golden cudgel he now owns is also a good treasure, but it is far inferior to the 4 swords of Zhu Xian. Tathagata's predecessor was Duo Bao Taoist, Tongtian's great disciple. He did not become a saint, but Tongtian was a saint. It is conceivable that Tathagata is much weaker than Tongtian, and Brother Monkey's strength cannot be compared with Tathagata. Any one of the 4 swords of Zhu Xian is completely qualified as an SS level reward. System, continue signing in. Ye Chen said in his mind, there is one more chance to sign in this month. Sign into the Demon Suppression Tower and receive an S-level reward enhancement card. Ye Chen's eyes lit up, this was also a good thing. And unlike the Zuxian sword, S-level enhancement cards can now be used. Escape. After signing in, Ye Chen immediately left the Demon Suppression Tower. The Tengu Eclipse Day has not passed yet. Following the path taken by the red demonic snake, Ye Chen easily passed the formation and returned to Fengming Palace not long after. Call. Back in Fengming Palace, Ye Chen transformed and let out a long breath. A big smile appeared on his face. Although I took a little risk, I got the 4 swords of Zhu Xian and an S-level enhancement card, which was full of rewards. Going to the big willow tree, Ye Chen lay down leisurely. S-level enhancement card, what does it enhance? Ye Chen muttered in his heart that he is now a level in piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting, so he has no intention of strengthening. After thinking about it for a while, Ye Chen decided to strengthen the demon refining pot. System, use S-level strengthening cards to strengthen the demon refining pot. Strengthening is successful, the imitation demon refining pot has been strengthened into an S-level genuine demon refining pot, which can refine semi-holy level monsters. The moment the strengthening was successful, the red demon snake screamed in the demon refining pot, and it was completely refined in the blink of an eye. A demon crystal appeared in the refining pot. This was obtained by refining the red demon snake. It was originally at the semi-saint level. This demon crystal is of very good quality. If Eunuch Lu gets this demon crystal, he can easily break through to the level of the great emperor. If you die, just die. Ye Chen muttered that he had no intention of having another powerful monster around him. Over at the demon suppressing tower, Xuanhuan came out of the demon suppressing tower. Thump. Eunuch Cai knelt in front of Xuanhuan. He said with a pale face, "Senior, this slave was attacked by the soul, and his strength was reduced a lot. It seems that a monster escaped from the side where the slave was guarding." Xuanhuan's consciousness entered Eunuch Cai's body, and he frowned secretly. Eunuch Cai's injuries did not look like he had been attacked by others. It seems like Eunuch Cai did it on purpose. The escaped monster must still be inside the Tianyang Emperor's palace. Find that monster, Xuanhuan said in a deep voice. He looked at Eunuch Cai deeply and did not clarify the matter. Xuanhuan was not 100% sure about how Eunuch Cai was injured, and Eunuch Cai was a member of the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother has lost one of the 2 God Emperor level experts around her. If anything happens to Eunuch Cai, the Queen Mother will get angry. Follow the order. All the powerful men said in unison. Xuanhuan quickly got the news that a powerful monster escaped from the demon suppression tower. Check Fengming Palace first to ensure the safety there. Xuanhuan ordered, and she immediately went to Fengming Palace. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 45. Eunuch Cai's cultivation level at the 6th level of the God Emperor was not the weakest among the strong men around the demon suppression tower, but something happened to him. Xuanhuan feels something is wrong. Eunuch Cai is a member of the Queen Mother. If he did this deliberately, it was definitely not to harm the Queen Mother, but Ye Chen. Soon Xuanhuan led people to Fengming Palace in a hurry. Eunuch Cai is also here. Your Majesty, this slave is guilty. If it hadn't been for the slave's mistake, no demon would have escaped. Eunuch Cai knelt down when he saw Luo Hongjian and said. Luo Hongjian glared at Eunuch Cai fiercely and said nothing. Eunuch Cai is a popular person in front of the Queen Mother, and he is a strong person in the 6th level of the God Emperor. Luo Hongjian can't do anything to him without any evidence. Ye Chen, do you have a problem here? Without being informed, Luo Hongjian entered Fengming Palace directly and arrived at the backyard of Fengming Palace. The other strong men followed. Your Majesty, what problem can I have? Ye Chen, who was lying in the sun, stood up and bowed his hands to Luo Hongjian as a salute. This meant that there were outsiders, otherwise Ye Chen wouldn't even bother to get up. Eunuch Cai glanced around and saw a pot of orchids dozens of meters away. There were no stones in the orchid pot. The demon source stone should be in here, but now it's not there. The monster must be coming. A monster with the strength of a god emperor is most likely to have swallowed Ye Chen's flesh and blood and taken over his body. Eunuch Cai secretly thought, he felt that Ye Chen should be a monster in human skin now. Ye Chen, if you offend the Queen Mother and offend our family, there will be no good consequences. Eunuch Cai had a faint smile on his face. Ye Chen sneered in his heart. Eunuch Cai just paid attention to the pot of orchids, and he noticed it. He has read many books, how could he not know about the demon source stone? He also has the companion Zhenliu with the strength of a saint. Ye Chen already knew when the demon source stone was secretly sent over. Your Majesty, for your safety, please check the situation of the Emperor and Empress carefully. If something goes wrong with the Emperor and Empress, and His Majesty is implicated, my servant will die. Eunuch Cai seemed to be respectful. He sneered in his heart, as long as the monster comes here, it will most likely take over Ye Chen's body. Ye Chen is the Empress, and her status is high enough to use some resources, so that the monster can regain its strength faster. Luo Hongjian's eyes showed worry. Eunuch Cai's behavior made her feel a little panicked. She was afraid that Eunuch Cai or the Empress might be up to something here. Eunuch Yan, please check on the Emperor and Empress. Luo Hongjian ordered. Yes, Your Majesty. Empress, this servant has been offended. After Eunuch Yan said that, powerful spiritual consciousness entered Ye Chen's body, and Ye Chen allowed him to inspect it. With the holy hidden cloak, although Ye Chen is now a master at the same level as Eunuch Yan didn't notice. Your Majesty, everything is normal with the Emperor and Empress. Mr. Yan said openly. Eunuch Cai frowned secretly, what's going on? The demon source stone is gone, so that monster must have been here. Could it be that with its powerful hiding ability, Eunuch Cai couldn't find it? That monster should have been at the 5th level of the God Emperor at that time. By absorbing the power of the monster origin stone, it could reach the 6th level of the God Emperor. If there is really a powerful concealment method, it is entirely possible that Eunuch Yan will not be able to detect the abnormality. Eunuch Cai thought to himself. Your Majesty, I think the Emperor and Empress need to conduct a more detailed inspection. I seem to have sensed evil energy here. Mr. Cai said openly. He didn't even sense the demonic energy in his fart, but if he said this, others couldn't accuse him of lying. Ye Chen's eyes fell on Eunuch Cai and smiled, Your Majesty, since Eunuch Cai said this, why not let Eunuch Cai stay here to protect me? I believe that with Eunuch Cai's protection, there shouldn't be any problems. If there is any problem then, just chop off Eunuch Cai's head. Luo Hongjian's eyes lit up. This was a good idea. The Queen Mother probably didn't want to lose Eunuch Cai to kill Ye Chen. She can tie Eunuch Cai's life and Ye Chen's life together. Just follow what the Emperor and Empress said. Eunuch Cai, from now on you will guard Fengming Palace. If anything goes wrong in Fengming Palace, you are the first to blame. Luo Hongjian said solemnly. Eunuch Cai groaned secretly. He felt that Ye Chen must have been devoured by monsters and taken over his body at this moment. Who is responsible for finding problems in the future? Your Majesty, monsters may also come to the Queen Mother's place, slave. The Queen Mother, I have other plans. Luo Hongjian interrupted Eunuch Cai. Yes, Your Majesty. Eunuch Cai reluctantly agreed. Luo Hongjian was the emperor, and her decisions were hard to change. Empress, a monster has escaped from the demon suppression tower, please be careful. After Luo Hongjian finished speaking, she quickly left with the rest of the people. Of course Eunuch Cai stayed. Monster, you haven't shown your true colors yet. Eunuch Cai's thunderous voice instantly rang in Ye Chen's mind. He wanted to find a way to make Ye Chen reveal his true form right away. In this way, the responsibility for Ye Chen's death does not belong to him. Ye Chen turned to look at Eunuch Cai, with a faint smile on his face. Eunuch Cai's expression changed. In Ye Chen's situation, he was even more convinced that there was something wrong. If a person of the acquired level is frightened by him like this, it is impossible for him to be so calm. And Ye Chen seemed to be still laughing at him. Monster, the demon source stone here has been absorbed by you. You can deceive others, but you can't deceive us. We'll send you off right now. Eunuch Cai said as he slapped Ye Chen's head with a palm that contained an extremely violent force. One palm was enough to smash a mountain. Eunuch Cai was more than 90% sure that Ye Chen had a problem, so he didn't hold back at all. Puff. At this moment, a thin willow branch instantly pierced through Eunuch Cai's palm and entered his body. No, no. Eunuch Cai's eyes showed a look of horror, and the power in his body flowed away at an extremely terrifying speed. Then, flesh and blood, soul. In the end, the clothes were swallowed by the companion divine willow. All this happened in just 2 or 3 seconds. Beside him, Lu Zhongliang had a calm expression. He sneered in his heart. Eunuch Cai was only at the 6th level of the Divine Emperor, but he dared to act presumptuous here. It was ridiculous. Eunuch Lu, report to His Majesty in a while and tell him that Eunuch Cai has escaped. I'm tired, I'm going to take a nap, please leave. Ye Chen lazily lay down again, and Lu Liangzhong bowed respectfully and left. In the afternoon, Luo Hongjian came to Ye Chen again. She came to Ye Chen's side. Ye Chen was still sleeping. Sleeping like a pig, pig head, wake up. Luo Hongjian shook Ye Chen, and Ye Chen opened his eyes in a daze. Hongjian, why are you disturbing my sweet dreams? Ye Chen, did you tell Eunuch Cai to do anything? Luo Hongjian asked. Her people had checked the entire Fengming Palace and did not find Eunuch Cai. Ye Chen rolled his eyes. Hongjian, Eunuch Cai is a 6th level divine emperor. Do you think I can order him to do something? I just want to tie him up here to keep me safe. Where are the others? Luo Hongjian said unhappily. He ran away. You can still sleep. Aren't you afraid that he will kill you while you are asleep? Ye Chen blinked. Hongjian, if I am awake, can I beat Eunuch Cai? Luo Hongjian. With Eunuch Cai's strength, if he really wants to kill Ye Chen, it really doesn't matter whether Ye Chen is asleep or not. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 46. After confirming that Ye Chen was fine, Luo Hongjian left. She hadn't even visited the Queen Mother yet. Ye Chen lay down, counting his gains since entering the palace. SSS level rewards, the 4 swords of Zeus Yen. SS level rewards, the Saint Hidden Cloak, the Companion Divine Willow. S level rewards, the Sun God Body, the 8-9 Mysterious Skills, the ancient dragon elephant skills, the floating lights, the void-breaking divine eyes, the Ruyi golden hoop, the demon refining pot, and the guardian ring for Luo Hanjian. A-level rewards, photographic memory, seal cards, the divine level of piano, chess, calligraphy, and painting, and the Emperor's true fire for Luo Hanjian. As for the A-level and below, Yexing didn't plan for it. Treasures of this level are not in his eyes now. In just 1 year, I have reached the 4th level of the Divine Emperor, and I have the combat power of the 8th level of the Divine Emperor. I also have so many treasures. The new system is a world apart from the previous broken system. Yechen was very happy. It was a wise decision for me to force the previous useless system to recognize its master. It was a wise decision to hide in the Empress's palace. If he had exposed his strength earlier, he might have been driven out of the Tianyang Imperial Palace. If Hanjian knew my situation now, I wonder if she would drive me away. Yechen thought to himself. From Luo Hanjian's 2 visits today, Yechen knew that he should have a very important position in Luo Hanjian's heart, but in Luo Hanjian's heart, the world should be more important at present. Alas! Now I have strength and treasures, but I don't have a wife to hug and sleep every day. Yechen muttered in his heart. I can only continue to hide. If Luo Hanjian is worried about threatening her throne and asks him to leave after exposing his strength now, what should I do? Besides, his current strength is far from being invincible. Let alone other people, he can't beat the old ancestor in the back mountain now if he leaves the range of the companion divine willow. Yangzin Palace. Luo Hanjian came here and confirmed that the Queen Mother was fine. Empress Dowager, I arranged for Eunuch Cai to guard Fengming Palace for a while. Now Eunuch Cai is missing. If you see Eunuch Cai, you have to talk to him. Are my words no longer effective for him? Luo Hanjian seemed to say casually. Du was stunned for a moment. Luo Hanjian arranged for Eunuch Cai to stay in Fengming Palace. Hanjian, since there are monsters in the demon suppression tower, is there any problem with the Emperor and Empress? Du asked. The monster source stone was released, so Yechen should have been in trouble. Luo Hanjian smiled lightly and said, Empress Dowager, there is no problem with the Emperor and Empress. Thank you for your concern. Empress Dowager, I have other things to deal with, so I will take my leave first. Isn't this kid Yechen dead? Luo Hanjian left, and Du frowned and thought. She waited for Eunuch Cai to come back and give her news. But she waited, and Eunuch Cai still didn't return to Yangzin Palace until the evening. Xiao Gaizi, go to Fengming Palace and see if Eunuch Cai is there. Yes. Du sent a young eunuch around, and Xiao Gaizi came back half an hour later. Report to the Queen Mother, Eunuch Cai is not in Fengming Palace. Du was puzzled, what was Eunuch Cai doing? She understood that Eunuch Cai was not working for Yechen, but he had to tell her anyway. Du did not expect that Eunuch Cai was dead. Eunuch Cai was at the 6th level of the Divine Emperor. The only one who could easily kill him in the palace was the ancestor. The ancestor of the royal family had a transcendent status, and he would not help Luo Hanjian kill people casually. The next morning, Du still did not receive any news from Eunuch Cai. Prepare the carriage, I will go to Fengming Palace. Du ordered. She was thinking, maybe there were masters guarding near her, so Eunuch Cai did not dare to approach. If she went out, maybe Eunuch Cai would send a message to contact her. Eunuch Wang has already left. Du's subordinates now only have Eunuch Cai, a powerful man of the Divine Emperor level. He can't just disappear like this. Welcome the Queen Mother. When this happened, I didn't take the initiative to visit the Queen Mother, and the Queen Mother came first. It's a sin. Yechen brought many people from Fengming Palace to the outside of the palace gate to greet them. Du snorted in her heart. She didn't come to visit Yechen. I came to take a look. Du's eyes swept over, she didn't find eunuch Cai, and no one sent her a message. Ye Chen smiled and said, "Thanks to the Queen Mother, everything is normal here. If it weren't for His Majesty's arrangement for eunuch Cai to stay here, eunuch Cai might not be used to leaving. Eunuch Cai may have discovered a monster and went to track it. Du made a public excuse for eunuch Cai, so that there would be a ready-made reason for eunuch Cai to appear in the future." Ye Chen laughed. He really went to chase the monster. He caught up with the Yellow Spring Road. The red snake monster that came out still had a piece of monster crystal left, and there was nothing left of eunuch Cai. What the Queen Mother said is absolutely right. Ye Chen took Du into Fengming Palace, and Du went around the entire Fengming Palace again. If eunuch Cai was here, he would definitely know that she was here and would contact her. But he didn't. Could it be that eunuch Cai escaped from the palace? This thought popped up in Du's mind. This is entirely possible. Eunuch Cai deliberately released a monster. If Ye Chen died and the monster also died, then it would be fine, the matter would be over. Now that Ye Chen is alive and the monster is alive, the matter is not over. A bad monster will kill people in the palace, and then eunuch Cai will have a great responsibility. It's all because of this little beast. Nothing good has happened since this little beast entered the palace. Mrs. Du glanced at Ye Chen and cursed in her heart. She felt that everything was not going well since Ye Chen entered the palace. She was very comfortable with two powerful god emperors under her command, but now eunuch Wang and eunuch Cai have left her. Hey, this old thing probably cursed me again in his heart. Ye Chen muttered in his heart. His strength of the god emperor is so sharp, and the Queen Mother's strength is far behind him. Empress, eunuch Cai is an old man around me. I want to transfer eunuch Cai back. You won't object, will you? Mrs. Du said in a deep voice. Ye Chen frowned and said, Queen Mother, but eunuch Cai has disappeared now. Humph, that's another matter. Just tell me whether you agree or not. Mrs. Du said forcefully. She is the Queen Mother and was the Queen before. She exudes a strong aura. Luo Hongjian is the Emperor, and her imperial power is very great. Mrs. Du was a little scared when facing Luo Hongjian, but she didn't take Ye Chen seriously. Ye Chen has no backer. He has acquired cultivation and his own strength is also scumbag. Even if Ye Chen was killed secretly, if there is no evidence, Mrs. Du believes that Luo Hongjian will not turn against him. She is still the high and mighty Queen Mother. Ye Chen narrowed his eyes. Mrs. Du thought he was easy to bully. Queen Mother, of course I agree to your request, but I am seriously lacking in masters and feel insecure. I don't know if the Queen Mother can give up and transfer two God King level subordinates over. Ye Chen said with a smile. Eunuch Cai is dead, and he will never be able to go back. It would be good to take the opportunity to withdraw two more God King level subordinates from Mrs. Du. If the God King level strongmen are transferred here, it will be fine if they are loyal to him in the future. If they are not loyal to him, they can be executed for any reason. Mrs. Du thought secretly that she still had more than 10 God King level people under her. It would be completely worth it for her to exchange two of them if eunuch Cai could come back in the future. As long as the news of being transferred back spreads, Mrs. Du believes that eunuch Cai should come back. I agree. The two servants will stay in Fengming Palace to work. Mrs. Du pointed to the two eunuchs beside her, both of whom were God King level cultivation. There were 4 God King level strongmen around Mrs. Du. The two that Mrs. Du pointed to were 1 God King of the 4th level and 1 God King of the 5th level. Tell me in time if there is any movement in Fengming Palace. You are here, but I hope your hearts are still on my side, otherwise you will not have a good time. Mrs. Du sent a message to the 2 God Kings. Your servants pay their respects to the Emperor and Empress. The 2 God Kings knelt down in front of Ye Chen. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 47. Queen Mother, I'll see you off. Ye Chen said with a smile, but he did not immediately ask the two kneeling God King level powerhouses to get up. Du Shi nodded slightly and said nothing. These two minions have been transferred to Ye Chen. What Ye Chen does is his business and she has no control over it. After sending Du away, Ye Chen didn't go looking for those two God King level experts. Until the afternoon, when Ye Chen woke up from his nap, two God King level experts were still kneeling there. Let them come over. Ye Chen said softly. Yes, Empress. Eunuch Lu sent the message to the two God King level experts, and they finally got up and went to the backyard. Empress. The two of them felt resentful in their hearts, but when they saw Ye Chen, they knelt down again. Eunuch Lu, seal their cultivation. The rest of the time they will be left to you. Teach them well. Ye Chen said calmly. The expressions of the two God King level experts changed slightly. If their cultivation was sealed, anyone in Fengming Palace might be able to kill them. But they didn't dare to disobey Ye Chen's order. God King level cultivation is considered a top expert in the outside world, but there are many who are better than this in the palace. Their resistance will lead to death. Yes, Empress. Lu Zhongliang took action, and he quickly sealed the cultivation of these two God King level experts. Ye Chen chuckled and said, Eunuch Lu, if someone is cheating on you, if you find someone, you will be killed with a stick, no matter what kind of cultivation level the other person is, do you understand? Empress, I understand. The two God King level experts broke out in cold sweat. If they dared to mess around, they would probably be killed. Back off. Ye Chen waved his hand. Lu Zhongliang quickly left with the two old eunuchs. With his methods, it would not take long to make them submissive. A few days passed. The Hall of Nourishing Heart. When Prince Mu arrives here, Queen Mother Du is his biological mother, and he will visit the palace every once in a while. Mu Eunuch Cai still hasn't contacted you? Du asked. Prince Mu nodded, Mother, no, Eunuch Cai has not contacted me, nor has he contacted Yuan Liang. Du was silent for a long time. In this case, Eunuch Cai should be dead. He has no doubt about the loyalty of the AI family. Even if he escapes from the Imperial Palace, he will definitely contact you and work for you secretly. Now there is no trace of him inside or outside the palace. Prince Mu frowned. Mother, our ancestors should not kill him. You are the Queen Mother, and Eunuch Cai is yours. Our ancestors know this. Even if our ancestors have a transcendent status, they will still give you 3 points. Du Shi nodded slightly. She was confident of this. Mu the AI family now suspects that Eunuch Cai was killed by the monster. Du Shi said solemnly. Prince Mu's face changed slightly. Mother, what you are saying is that the monster was actually in Fengming Palace at the beginning, but its strength and methods were not discovered. If Eunuch Cai stayed in Fengming Palace, it would devour Eunuch Cai. Du nodded lightly, otherwise, we can't explain why Eunuch Cai didn't respond. If Eunuch Cai stays there, it may hinder its affairs. Moreover, Eunuch Cai is a powerful person at the 6th level of the God Emperor. Devouring Eunuch Cai will increase its strength. Prince Mu thought. It is indeed possible. The monsters that came out of the Demon Suppression Tower must have been extremely powerful, and God knows what kind of methods they had. Even if Eunuch Cai is at the 6th level of the Divine Emperor, it is possible for the other party to kill Eunuch Cai silently. Mu the AI family thinks the monster may still be in Fengming Palace. Prince Mu said in a deep voice, Mother, if this is really the case, the Emperor and Empress may no longer be human. A monster is most likely to occupy the body of the Empress. Mother, can our ancestors be free? Du shook his head. Although the Tengu eclipse has passed, the subsequent effects are still there. Our ancestors must now stay at the demon suppression tower. Prince Mu's eyes flashed. Mother, will your majesty go to Fengming Palace these days, or will the emperor and empress go to Purple Dragon Palace? No. She shook her head. She had asked people to pay attention to the situation in Fengming Palace in the past few days. Prince Mu sneered, Mother, it has been a year since the emperor and empress entered the palace. It seems that your majesty has not consummated the marriage with the emperor and empress. This is somewhat unreasonable. Mother, you are the queen mother, so maybe you should take care of it. Shi's eyes lit up. If Ye Chen is no longer a human being, if he is allowed to sleep with Luo Hongjian will probably die too. As long as it is proven that Luo Hongjian is a monster, Prince Mu can easily ascend to the throne. Mother, I will ask people to build momentum in the court. You should also talk to His Majesty. Even if they don't really consummate their marriage, as long as they sleep together, the chance of something happening to His Majesty is not small. Prince Mu said in a deep voice. Shi nodded. Of course she would be happy to see her biological son Luo Xuanhuan become the emperor. The strength of the prince's party was very strong, and soon the prince's party began to build momentum both in government and in the opposition. Your Majesty, the emperor and the empress have been in the palace for a year, and now you have not consummated the marriage. Where will the emperor and the empress be placed? Your Majesty, if you do this, how will our Tianyang Empire last for eternity? His Majesty. Many ministers in the court stood up, even many important ministers from the Queen's party stood up and criticized. People from the Empress party also hope that Luo Hongjian will have a daughter. It is an extremely serious matter for a monarch to have no heir. If Luo Hongjian dies, they can support Luo Hongjian's son to ascend the throne as emperor. If not, the throne belongs to Luo Xuanhuan. The Empress party and Luo Xuanhuan are on the opposite side. Is there really going to be a day of bad luck? Luo Hongjian has not actually consummated her marriage with the emperor and empress, so how can she have any descendants? These bastards. Luo Hongjian went down to court with a headache. Your Majesty, concubine Shu is here and waiting for you. Nangong Ningui reports. Luo Hongjian adjusted her emotions and entered the Purple Dragon Palace. She said with a smile on her face, Aunt Shu, why are you here alone? Where is that girl from Chang'e? I haven't seen her for several days. Concubine Shu smiled and said, Chang Li has gone to Fengming Palace. Hongjian, let me talk to you. Luo Hongjian personally made tea for concubine Shu. Hongjian, isn't the Empress pretty good? What on earth are you thinking? Before you consummate your marriage with the Empress, I thought you had consummated your marriage long ago, concubine Shu said. Luo Hongjian frowned secretly, Aunt Shu, I think the time is not yet ripe. Concubine Shu said, Hongjian, you are the monarch, and Ye Chen is the empress, you have to take the initiative. You are a monarch, and a monarch has no heir. What do you want the ministers who support you to think? Luo Hongjian smiled bitterly and said, Aunt Shu, many people who support Prince Mu are concerned about this matter. I think there seems to be something fishy in this. Concubine Shu frowned and said, as you put it, Hongjian, some of us think something is a little strange. Eunuch Cai is 100% loyal to the Queen Mother. The Queen Mother transferred him back, but he still didn't show up. Even if he leaves the palace, he will probably return after receiving the news. Luo Hongjian said, Aunt Shu, are you sure that if Eunuch Cai escapes, he will come back? How loyal is he to the Queen Mother? Concubine Shu nodded, this involves some old things. Even if you are the emperor, you don't know. Eunuch Cai's loyalty is definitely so high. It is abnormal for him to disappear without a trace. Many thoughts flashed through Luo Hongjian's mind in the blink of an eye. Her IQ is very high. Originally she thought Eunuch Cai might have run away, but now she thinks maybe Eunuch Cai is dead. Could it be? Luo Hongjian thought of a possibility. Could it be that eunuch Cai was killed by a monster? If so, the monster was in Fengming Palace before, and Ye Chen wouldn't have been eaten by the monster. Luo Hongjian was extremely anxious. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Did. Chapter 48. If the monster really kills eunuch Cai, there is a high possibility that it will swallow Ye Chen's flesh and blood and take over his body. Come, go to Fengming Palace and ask the Empress and Chang Le to come over and have lunch here. Luo Hongjian ordered. Then Luo Hongjian quickly and secretly mobilized powerful people to the Purple Dragon Palace. If Ye Chen was really eaten by a monster, she would definitely kill the monster to avenge Ye Chen. Hongjian, what's wrong? Concubine Shu asked. Luo Hongjian's face looked wrong, and she seemed a little distracted. Aunt Chu, Ye Chen, and Chang Le will come over later. I'll find a reason to take Ye Chen to the backyard to be alone for a while. Luo Hongjian took a deep breath and said. Concubine Shu is her adoptive mother, Luo Yudi is just like her biological sisters, and Luo Hongjian will definitely not let them be harmed. Hongjian, why dash? Concubine Shu was stunned mid-sentence, with a look of fear on her face. Her reaction was slower than Luo Hongjian's, but she wasn't stupid either. Luo Hongjian said bitterly, Aunt Chu, try to adjust your mood and don't let Ye Chen see anything unusual. Then what do you do yourself? Concubine Shu looked at Luo Hongjian worriedly. Something could happen to anyone, but not to Luo Hongjian. Luo Hongjian raised her left hand and flashed the guardian ring she wore on her left hand. This ring has been tested before and can withstand emperor-level attacks, and it is not a one-time treasure. This side of Fengming Palace. Chang Le was chattering beside Ye Chen like a lark. Wearing that colorful flowing skirt, she looked like an elf falling into the mortal world. Ye Chen looked at Chang Le with a smile. Of course he didn't have any thoughts about Chang'e, but looking at such a little beauty was pleasing to the eye, wasn't it? Empress, there is news from the Purple Dragon Palace, please come with Princess Chang'e. Let's eat there together. Qiuju came to Ye Chen's side and said respectfully. Ye Chen nodded without thinking too much. He already knew that concubine Shu had gone to the Purple Dragon Palace. It was normal for Luo Hongjian to call them there. Half an hour later, Ye Chen and the others arrived at the Purple Dragon Palace. There are now 10 powerful men of the God Emperor level ambushing the Purple Dragon Palace, but Ye Chen did not notice anything unusual. Currently, Ye Chen only has the cultivation level of the 4th level of the God Emperor and the strength of the 8th level of the God Emperor. The most powerful man in Purple Dragon Palace is now at the 9th level of the God Emperor, and Eunuch Yan is also at the 8th level of the God Emperor. Sister Hongjian. Luo Yudi shouted happily when she saw Luo Hongjian. Empress. Aunt Chu. Concubine Shu and Ye Chen also smiled and greeted each other. Ye Chen, follow me to the backyard. I have something to tell you. After Luo Hongjian finished speaking, she walked to the backyard first. Ye Chen was a little strange. There seemed to be something wrong with Luo Hongjian's state. Aunt Chu, I'm sorry, Hongjian doesn't know why things are so urgent. Ye Chen and concubine Shu talked and headed to the backyard of Zilong Palace, while Luo Hongjian arrived at Qinting. Ye Chen, I'm a little uneasy. Please play a song and I'll listen. Luo Hongjian said. This was the way she came up with to verify if there was something wrong with Ye Chen. If the monster has special means, a strong man at the 9th level of the God Emperor may not be able to detect the abnormality, but even if the monster swallows Ye Chen's flesh and blood and takes over his body, there must be no God-level piano skills. There has never been such a record in historical materials. Okay. Ye Chen nodded. Some time ago, he signed in and received a gift package of piano music. It was only a B-level reward, but it contained a lot of piano music. Sitting in front of the guqin, the sweet sound of the guqin soon began to sound. Ye Chen played Yang Chun Begs You, one of the top 10 ancient songs in the past life. A picture seemed to appear in Luo Hongjian's mind. As winter passes and spring comes, the earth revives and everything thrives. Her inner boredom is gradually relieved by the music of the piano. What a great song! Sister Hongjian is not at this level. Is it my brother-in-law who is playing? Luo Yudi was shocked. Although she was young, her appreciation level was still quite high. She vaguely judged that this piece of music was excellent and the player's level was also extremely high. God level. Concubine Shu was a master in this area, and she judged Ye Chen's level more accurately. While feeling shocked, Concubine Shu also felt relieved. If the monster occupies Ye Chen's body, he can at most reach the master level. It is impossible to reach the Grand Master level, let alone the God level. Hongjian, do you feel better? After the song ended, Ye Chen looked at Luo Hongjian and smiled. Luo Hongjian smiled. Suddenly Ye Chen was stunned. When you look back, you smile and you are full of beauty. The pink and white in the sixth palace are colorless. Such a poem came to his mind, and Luo Hongjian's smile now is extremely beautiful. No, my wife's smile is too lethal. I can't bear it anymore. Ye Chen murmured in his heart that he had the urge to knock Luo Hongjian down. Ye Chen, you are great at poetry. Please write a few more poems. Luo Hongjian said. With the God-level piano sound, she was basically sure that there was nothing wrong with Ye Chen, but she hoped nothing would go wrong. Hongjian, you know my level. Given our relationship, there is no problem in giving out a song for free. If you still want poems, you have to pay something, he. Ye Chen said with a smile. Sex embryo. Let's read your poem and then talk about it. Luo Hongjian hummed. She waved her hand, and the maid brought up the paper and pen. Shangzi. I want to know you, and live long and never die. The mountains have no ridges, the rivers have dried up, the winter thunders, the summer rains and snows, and the heaven and earth merge. I dare to break up with you. The simple UFO poem soon fell on the rice paper with ink. The calligraphy is good, and the poem is even better. Luo Hongjian stared at the verses on it infatuatedly. These verses are too beautiful. Hongjian, this poem is worth 3 or 5 nights. I won't leave tonight. Ye Chen laughed. Luo Hongjian came back to her senses. The poem is good, and the calligraphy is good. But some people said that they like polygamy in Xuanhuan Palace that day. The emotions in the poem are a bit fake. It's not worth 3 or 5 nights, but it's barely worth 1 night. Ye Chen sighed. Hongjian, if you are in business, you must be a profiteer. Humph. Luo Hongjian snorted and blushed. Should I let Ye Chen take advantage of me tonight? Sister Hongjian, have you finished talking? Lunch is here. Changle's voice came over, and Luo Hongjian quickly put away the poem written by Ye Chen. She didn't intend to show this to anyone else. Eunuch Yan, you leave and go to Fengming Palace. You have a whole day, check all the people in Fengming Palace strictly. Luo Hongjian said in a voice transmission. Although it was checked a few days ago, the monster may not have occupied someone's body at that time. And the check was not so thorough at that time. Yes, Your Majesty. It was soon lunchtime, and Luo Yudi looked at Ye Chen excitedly. Brother-in-law, were you playing the piano just now? You are so amazing, your piano skills, calligraphy, and chess skills are all so amazing. Little stars seemed to appear in Luo Yudi's eyes, and her admiration for Ye Chen, her brother-in-law, reached a higher level. If Ye Chen was not only at the acquired level, he would be perfect. Luo Hongjian glanced at Luo Yudi vigilantly. Would this girl be obsessed with Ye Chen? After lunch, Luo Yudi left reluctantly. She was dragged away by concubine Shu, who was also worried that Luo Yudi would fall in love with Ye Chen, who was the empress. Ye Chen, if you have nothing to do in the afternoon, teach me to practice calligraphy. Luo Hongjian said. Eunuch Yan and the others went to check, and Ye Chen could not return to Fengming Palace today. In addition, deep in Luo Hongjian's heart, she also secretly hoped to spend more time with Ye Chen. That's no problem. Ye Chen's eyes lit up. When teaching Luo Hongjian to practice calligraphy, he grabbed her little hand. Isn't this normal? You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Di. Chapter 49. In the afternoon, Ye Chen taught Luo Hongjian how to practice calligraphy. It was rare for Luo Hongjian, an empress, to have such a leisurely time. Hongjian, look at the way the calligraphy is written. Hongjian, something is wrong here. Ye Chen taught Luo Hongjian very patiently. However, Luo Hongjian's talent in this area is indeed average, and the pen in her hand seems to have a grudge against her. Your Majesty, Prime Minister Wei wants to see you. Nangongneng entered the Zilong Palace and reported. Ye Chen raised his eyebrows. Of course he knew who Prime Minister Wei was. After Pei Hong died, the Tianyang dynasty could not be without a prime minister for a long time. Some time ago, the former Taifa Wei Yutang became the prime minister. Ye Chen knew Wei Yutang a little, he was talented and learned, and he was loyal to the late emperor, but originally everyone thought that Luo Yuanmu would take over the throne, and he and Luo Yuanmu were relatively close. Later, the late emperor appointed Luo Hongjian as emperor, and Wei Yutang's voice in the court was greatly reduced. But after a few years, she worked quietly and accepted the fact that Luo Hongjian became the emperor. After Pei Hong's death, the prime minister's position became vacant, and there was overt and covert fighting between the DPRK and the central government. However, the compromise between all parties allowed Wei Yutang to take advantage. He was a candidate that was barely acceptable to both the Queen's party and the Prince's party. Please come over, Prime Minister Wei. Luo Hongjian said calmly. Here at the Purple Dragon Palace, the late emperor often met with his ministers here. Luo Hongjian is the empress. She has never received ministers in Zilong Palace before. But now that Ye Chen, the empress, is here, it's okay for Luo Hongjian to receive Wei Yutang here. Hongjian, when Prime Minister Wei comes over, should I avoid him? Ye Chen said. Wei Yutang's request for an interview must be for political reasons, and he had no interest in interfering with political affairs. Don't you feel comfortable spending some time in the sun, sleeping, and reading a book every day? Luo Hongjian shook her head. Don't worry, Ye Chen, you haven't met Prime Minister Wei yet, so I would like to take this opportunity to introduce you to Prime Minister Wei, and Prime Minister Wei's arrival may have something to do with you. There was a big quarrel in the court today, and she didn't give a clear reply. Prime Minister Wei may come over because of this. Ye Chen was confused. Is it related to him? Purple Dragon Palace is located at the entrance of the harem, not far from Tianji Palace. It didn't take long for Wei Yutang to arrive, followed by several eunuchs. Welcome ministers, see your majesty, and see the emperor and empress. Wei Yutang bent down and saluted. Luo Hongjian asked him to meet at Zilong Palace, and he knew that Ye Chen was probably there. Prime Minister Wei, there is no need to be polite. Give me a seat. Luo Hongjian smiled and said, Xiang Wei, you only met the emperor and the empress from a distance when I got married. The empress happens to be here today. You can talk and get to know each other. Wei Yutang said quietly, Your Majesty, the emperor and empress live deep in the harem, so I may not have any need to get acquainted with the emperor and empress. Ye Chen raised his eyebrows. The old guy had quite a temper. Luo Hongjian's face turned cold. She has no problem criticizing Ye Chen herself, but she feels uncomfortable when others criticize Ye Chen. Your Majesty, the issue I want to report today happens to be related to the Emperor and Empress. It would be fine for the Emperor and Empress to listen in. Wei Yutang continued without waiting for Luo Hongjian to speak. What's the matter? Luo Hongjian suppressed her anger and said, after all, Wei Yutang is her prime minister. Wei Yutang said in a deep voice, Your Majesty, the Southwest is not peaceful recently, and the Southwest King may have objections. The Southwest King has written a letter, hoping that his second son Siduran can become the Emperor's concubine. Can Your Majesty consider it? This matter should not be mentioned in public, so I came to see His Majesty privately. Ye Chen's eyes widened. What a guy, he actually wanted to find an imperial concubine for Luo Hongjian. I want to put a hat on him. If he gets started, he will put on his forgiveness hat one after another, and he will be embarrassed as a time traveler. I thought Sidu Yan had taken care of it, and the Sidu family wouldn't do anything for the time being. I didn't expect that the Southwest King would do this. Empress, Your Majesty has given birth to a dragon son. This is a very important matter for the entire Tianyang dynasty. The Empress should not object to Your Majesty marrying the imperial concubine, right? Wei Yutang looked at Ye Chen. As both men, Ye Chen felt that this old guy was a little gloating about his misfortune. When he became the Empress, countless people were envious, jealous, and resentful. Arranging an imperial concubine would pierce his heart. Ye Chen said with an indifferent expression, Prime Minister Wei, I heard that some countries let their princesses marry far away for the sake of stabilizing their borders, leading to a miserable life. I've never heard of it, that in order to stabilize the border, the emperor needs to sell his lust personally. Wei Yutang's old face suddenly darkened. Empress, how can this be betraying lust? Your Majesty is concubine nati. Ye Chen said with a half smile but not a smile, Prime Minister Wei, can you control what the world says? If Your Majesty looks ugly, there will be no problem. What will the world say about Your Majesty's appearance? I am also a man. I feel that many people in the world will think that Your Majesty relies on your beauty to win over the vassal king, and that he will humiliate his ministers and die. If such a situation occurs, what will Prime Minister Wei do? Wei Yutang broke out in cold sweat on his forehead. The Tianyang dynasty has a population of tens of billions, how can he guarantee that no one in the world will have such an idea? Besides, even if they didn't originally have such an idea, what if someone was willing to take the lead? Your Majesty, I am afraid. Wei Yutang said with a trembling voice. Luo Hongjian looked at Ye Chen and said, the Emperor seems to have something else to say, you might as well say it and listen. Ye Chen said softly, Your Majesty, if a man is the Emperor, Queen, or concubine, all of them getting pregnant and having children will not affect the government. Your Majesty, if you have a large harem and get pregnant once a year, you don't have to do anything else. Perhaps someone deliberately uses such means to seize the throne. Plop. Wei Yutang knelt on the ground, Your Majesty, I absolutely do not have such an idea. I simply feel that if Your Majesty has no successor, it will be bad for the country. I am sincere. Wei Yutang felt bitter. He did not expect Ye Chen to be so good at talking. How could he bear two compliments? Luo Hongjian said calmly, Prime Minister Wei, I still know your loyalty. The Empress is not targeting you. She is just expressing her opinion. You don't have to take it too seriously. Get up. Thank you, Your Majesty. Wei Yutang stood up tremblingly. Ye Chen chuckled and said, Prime Minister Wei, you are now the Prime Minister. Is there still room for improvement? Wei Yutang's face changed. Outside the palace, the Prime Minister is already second to one person and above hundreds of millions of people. Empress, I absolutely do not have the intention of being a disloyal minister. Wei Yutang said hurriedly. Ye Chen laughed and said, Prime Minister Wei, I believe you didn't, and His Majesty also believes you didn't. Since you have already reached the highest position, you should try your best to keep your current position. If there is a change, it's best that you stay like this. At worst, your family might be confiscated and your clan exterminated. Wei Yutang was stunned. Thank you for your advice, Emperor and Empress. Wei Yutang bowed his hands. Ye Chen smiled and said, Prime Minister Wei, you should know such a simple truth as the Prime Minister, but you may be blinded by the situation. Luo Hongjian looked at Ye Chen in surprise. She was racking her brains on how to completely pull Wei Yutang. Ye Chen seemed to be able to solve this problem easily. The Emperor and Empress are right. Your Majesty, I won't bother you anymore. The relationship between the Emperor and Empress and Your Majesty seems to be much better than I expected. I was worrying too much. Wei Yutang said. To be the Prime Minister, he naturally has extraordinary abilities. From some small details, he can see that Ye Chen and Luo Hongjian have a very good relationship. Ye Chen was quite casual in front of Luo Hongjian, but most empresses wouldn't dare to do that. Luo Hongjian said, Prime Minister Wei, don't tell others that the Empress said those words just now. I don't want any words attacking the Empress to appear, understand? The words coming out of Ye Chen's mouth are likely to be regarded as jealous Empress. Yes, Your Majesty. I'll take my leave. Wei Yutang said respectfully, and he left quickly after he finished speaking. As long as I stay in the Empress Palace, I am invincible. Author, New Did. Chapter 50. Wei Yutang left, and Luo Hongjian looked at Ye Chen with a strange expression. Hongjian, is there something on my face? Ye Chen said doubtfully. Luo Hongjian chuckled and said, Prime Minister Wei has always been sharp in his words. I didn't expect that I would fall into trouble with you today. If you were an official, you would certainly do well. Becoming an emperor would be a bit of a humiliation. Ye Chen said lazily, Hongjian, I'm not made to be an official. I'm busy with this and that every day. When I become a big official, I have to get up early every day and go to court early. It's boring. Luo Hongjian looked at Ye Chen, it's okay if you don't like being an official, but you still have to pay close attention to your training. At least you have to reach the innate level, right? At the innate level, your lifespan can reach up to 200 years. Now that you only have the acquired level of cultivation, your lifespan is a little longer than that of ordinary people, and it will not exceed 120 years. I am currently at the 8th level of the God King, and my lifespan is close to 700 years. In my situation, I will definitely reach the level of the God King, and my lifespan will exceed 700 years by then. Do you understand what I mean? Luo Hongjian looked serious, and Ye Chen's cultivation was low, which was a serious problem. Ye Chen looked at Luo Hongjian with a smile. Hongjian, do you want me to be a couple of gods and gods because of my high cultivation level? Luo Hongjian glanced to the side and said calmly, when you are old and frail, I will find a few more imperial concubines, and let them take turns pushing you around the palace in a wheelchair every day. Am I good to you? Ye Chen. Hongjian, you mean, if I were not old and frail, you would not find an imperial concubine, right? Luo Hongjian raised her eyebrows. I can promise you that as long as you can reach the innate level of cultivation within 5 years and the star-gathering level within 20 years, I don't need to find an imperial concubine. Aiming for the world, Luo Hongjian really has no idea about male lust. Moreover, except for Ye Chen's cultivation, which was a little lower, she was very satisfied with the rest. Ye Chen is good at playing piano, calligraphy, chess, knowledge, and looks. Hongjian, I feel offended. 5 years to be born, 20 years to gather stars, you look down on people. Ye Chen glared. In the world of low martial arts, the innate might be very powerful, but in the Juxiao continent, in the world of high martial arts, The innate is only at a very low level. Luo Hongjian said calmly, some people have been in the palace for a year, but their cultivation is still the same. Ye Chen, your talent in training is even lower than my talent in calligraphy. Ye Chen rolled his eyes. Luo Hongjian's talent in calligraphy is really low. As for his training, Luo Hongjian was scared to death by telling him. Beauty, the great rock rises with the wind in one day and soars 90,000 miles away. I'll let you know how powerful I am then. Ye Chen glared. Luo Hongjian chuckled, the poem is good. I don't expect you to become a rock. If you can become a tit and fly 3 to 5 miles, I will be satisfied. There will be a martial arts exam held every 4 years in the court next year. I will take you to see it when I arrive. I hope you will see more and be touched a little bit. In the Tianyang dynasty, there were scientific examinations and martial arts examinations. It's every 4 years. The scientific examination will be in the first half of next year, and the martial arts examination will be in the second half of next year, both of which are extremely important. Hongjian, it's still early, you should practice your calligraphy again. Ye Chen directly changed the topic. Luo Hongjian's momentum suddenly waned. If only her talent in calligraphy were half as good as her talent in practice. When she started practicing calligraphy, Luo Hongjian quickly turned into a pitiful little girl. Hongjian, you are just wasting paper. By the way, Hongjian, among the people, paper is expensive and books are expensive, so why don't you think of a way to solve it? Luo Hongjian said angrily, how to solve it? Has paper always been expensive and books expensive? In the Tianyang dynasty, and even in the entire Zhuxiao continent, it was difficult for a poor family to produce a noble son. There is a saying among the people that the poor in literature and the rich in military affairs. It is true that martial arts training consumes a lot of money and is not something that ordinary families can afford, but the road to scientific examination is not that easy either. Paper is expensive, and printing it into a book is even more expensive. The poor cannot afford it. Ye Chen thought thoughtfully, this world puts a lot of energy into training, the top strong men can fly into the sky and escape from the earth, and the development in other aspects is not even as good as in previous lives and ancient times. Hongjian, it's not like this can't be solved. Ye Chen smiled lightly. He knows paper making and printing. Some time ago, he received a B-level reward package, which included paper making, printing, compass, and gunpowder. Ye Chen, do you know what you are talking about? Luo Hongjian looked at Ye Chen in surprise. In the Tianyang dynasty, family status is a serious problem. If the price of paper and books can be reduced, the children of poor families will have hope. If there are more children from poor families, the status of family members can be reduced. His Majesty. At this moment, Nangongning hurriedly entered the Purple Dragon Palace, with a look of anxiety on her face. Luo Hongjian frowned secretly, something big must have happened. As her personal female officer, Nangongning is very capable, and ordinary things cannot move her. Nangong, what happened? Luo Hongjian asked directly. Nangongning took a deep breath and said in a deep voice, Your Majesty, the Thousand Island Kingdom has announced an indefinite suspension of paper exports to our Tianyang dynasty for some unknown reason. The Lin family and other paper-making families jointly announced a price increase for paper, tripling the original price. There is great public dissatisfaction. The scientific examination will be held in the first half of next year, only half a year away. Now is the time when paper consumption is high, and the demand for books is also high. At this time, the price of paper has tripled, and the price of books will definitely rise as well. It would be strange if there is no resentment among the people. It is difficult for a poor family to produce a noble son, and the original price of paper books is very expensive. If the price rises 3 times more, how can the children from a poor family stand it? Luo Hongjian's pretty face was full of shabbiness, Something like this happened 4 years ago. She had not been on the throne for too long at that time. I had to bow to the paper-making families headed by the Lin family and lower the tax rate for them. Enjoying the low tax rate I gave you, you don't want to repay your kindness, but you force me again. Luo Hongjian gritted her teeth. Every year during the scientific examination year, paper prices and books tend to increase, but in the past they only increased by 30 to 40% at most. After she ascended the throne, her salary tripled from the start. It's 3 times now, and after a while, it's likely to be 4 or 5 times, forcing her to lower her head and give her another favor. Nangongning retreated silently. She had no idea about such a thing. Hongjian, who is the background of the Lin family? Ye Chen asked. 4 years ago, Tianyang paper was expensive, he knew this. At its most expensive, it was 6 times the usual price. There was a huge commotion among the people. There were even demonstrations by many scholars in some places. Luo Hongjian said solemnly, the Tianyang dynasty has been inherited for 18,000 years. Some families have existed since the founding of the country and are extremely powerful. The Lin family is one of such ancient families. They often monopolize some special industries. 30% of the Tianyang dynasty's paper comes from overseas, 40% comes from the Lin family, and the remaining 30% comes from the paper-making family headed by the Lin family. The imperial court has almost no influence in this regard. It was the same thing 4 years ago. I lowered their taxes by half. The paper tax court's annual income is not low, so reducing the tax by half is a big concession.